Ladies and gents, welcome to Masters of Marketing. In this episode, I have Nader Amiri from ElGrocer, the founder of ElGrocer, where we shared tons of added value, tons of information, how and why Nader started ElGrocer, how he scaled it to where it is today, to a multi-million-dollar business, how he exited, what made him exit, some of the strategies, some of the do's and don'ts. So check it out and let me know what you think. Nader, welcome to Masters of Marketing.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Habibi. Who is Nader?
Nader Amiri. I've been in the UAE for just over 30 years now.
30 years.
Yes. Remember back in the days where you go in Dubai, you go out for the summer vacation, you come back after 3 months and there's like 3 buildings around you. So growing up with the fast pace and fast growth of Dubai was something very exciting. And I think, looking at it retrospectively, I think that got built into the DNA of Nader. Fast change, seeing buildings pop up, roads change, Dubai getting on the world map. It was exciting, so it's something new happening in Dubai all the time. And, as I grew up, I think got baked into having that level of ambition and saying, need to do something different, need to be entrepreneurial. I come from an entrepreneurial family as well. I mean, my dad had his own business, always been, uncles and so on. So I started my career differently. But I think that was, as growing up in Dubai and seeing that growth spurt of Dubai and UAE in general, I think all of this entrepreneurial nature of Dubai and thinking big and taking risk and doing things fast, I think it all got baked into, because when I look at it retrospectively, in a lot of discussions we had, I enjoyed seeing this growth in Dubai happen, and this has got me used to thinking in that way,
Yeah. Makes sense, man. You're making me think actually, like, why people people that migrate, people like us, our parents work so hard. I come from Lebanon, and because the situation is never good, the parents work extremely hard to send their kids abroad, to give them higher education, etc. And so when we leave, I left when I was 17. You just want to work so hard so you don't have to go back, or because you saw that your parents work hard and your people around you work hard and your peers and everybody in your system and in your culture work very hard. So it's interesting to say that you have that in you, plus you grew up in a country where you saw leaders making it big, taking big risks, and the country is developing so fast, so you feel like you're part of it and you can actually do it because you're seeing it. You're seeing others winning, so you can do it as well and you can win.
Absolutely.
Super interesting. And what's the story with ElGrocer? How did you come up with it? How did you start it? Why did you start it?
Yeah, ElGrocer, very interesting story. We started ElGrocer 2016, but let me take you a couple of years back, right? So I've been, since graduating, working in the FMCG industry. Worked with the likes of Unilever, Kraft Foods, Mondelez, Coca-Cola, in different teams, in different geographies, mainly Middle East, but also some other geographies as well. And one of the key things was always looking at innovation. But I felt that, fast-moving consumer goods, innovation was not innovating fast enough. And started seeing tech and e-commerce come in and really do things that are exciting and cool. And independently, I had some cash, said, let me see what's this whole startup e-commerce community about, and did a couple of angel investments. And worked with those startups, advising, consulting, and from a marketing or sales approach. And then the time came saying for ElGrocer, said, now this is an interesting opportunity no one was doing at the time. Said, this is the right time perhaps to leave FMCG and jump full into the startup e-commerce world. I felt that, e-commerce has advanced in many different industries, but it was not there in FMCG in this part of the world. And, doing research so that, okay, in other parts of the world, it exists. This was 2014, 15. And in the Middle East, you can't. You can order a laptop from souk.com back in the days. E-commerce was picking up thanks to Souk. I think in the food delivery space, there was Food on Click in UAE. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah. What year was that?
2014, 15. I said, okay, time to do something as well in the grocery space. Why can't you order your groceries if you can order food, if you can order e-commerce? And the habit existed because people were calling the nearby store. So there was a traditional way of doing the delivery business and scope. So I said, you know what? No one is doing it here. Spoke to a couple of friends, ex-colleagues, friends, said, what do you think of this idea? They're like, we're in. I'm like, you're in what?
Yeah.
They're like, let's do this. I'm like, it was just an idea. They're like, oh, no, let's do it. We'll put our money, we'll do it ourselves. And we started that way. That was the first year, was like more of a beta. This was 2016. Saying, okay, let's put some of our money, let's pool our experiences, and let's do this. We'll invest, we'll hire a team, and we'll start this journey, and we'll see where it will take us, right? It was a low risk. And then a year later, there were a couple of competitors that started at the same time. Like, okay, now we need to do this in a serious way so that we don't fall behind. And that's when I left my corporate job and started, doing this full time and leading this full time.
Interesting. Who were the competitors back then?
InstaShop was there.
Okay.
I think they started maybe 3 or 6 months before us by the time we launched. So okay. I think they did it, starting with a big group that backed them. We started bootstrapped, friends and family style. There were a couple of others that don't exist today anymore. So,
What does ElGrocer stand for?
I think ElGrocer, when we started it, why we started ElGrocer, besides the market opportunity, I would say, was also due to the personal need, right? So you need groceries. You're not in the mood to go to Carrefour Mall of the Emirates on the weekend, stand in the queue, look for the products. So the whole experience as a customer, as a shopper, was becoming tiring. Busy with so many things, no time, outside of work. You needed that convenience. You needed to have control over the time back, right? Anything that helps give time back is a service willing to pay for. So when we started it, a lot of friends and family invested with us from the beginning was that, yes, we need a service like this. So it was that offering that convenience. So ElGrocer, when it started, it was to offer that convenience and time back. One of the first campaigns was saying, we will take that chore off of your plate, off of your schedule, so that you don't need to worry about that. We'll just, the stuff you need, we'll just get it for you from wherever you need, and then you can do whatever 2-3 hours you save from your time back.
Absolutely. Without having to call the grocer. They answer sometimes they don't, sometimes they hear you, sometimes not.
Yep.
And I like the app because you can schedule even your groceries for the next day or whenever time you're available.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Interesting. What makes ElGrocer a successful business?
I think a couple of things. One is definitely the testament of our customers. What gives us that motivation was when we look at our customer base, we haven't spent much on marketing. We were self-funded with friends and family, a bit of crowdfunding, over the years until we got acquired. So having to do a lot of that with our own money and having to build a proposition, build a business that doesn't rely on going and spending marketing to acquire a big user base was, hey, you know what? We're building a car. The example I like to give. we're building the car with the engine. We may not have the fuel to drive it for a long distance, but we'll build the right car with the right engine. We will put as much fuel, as we go. Till then, we will see what we can do to scale it further. So for us, that experience was always about how to have the right customer experience from A to Z, right? From the app experience itself, us seeing it as shoppers. So till today, the quality, I would say, of the customer base we have, most of the customers we have are the customers we had over the years, gradually, coming, rather than a big, right? When you go and invest, you have very high churn rates, very low retention, then you drive activities to bring back those customers. In ElGrocer, thanks to the attention and care we've been giving, right, to all the steps of the journey, was to give the right experience. Because we can't go and acquire millions of customers. We can acquire few. So when we acquire those few, we want to make sure that those customers stick. Those customers have the right experience. So I think going back to the point of how we define success is a lot of the customers of ElGrocer today are the customers who have been with us for years, despite the competition, because of the engagement, because of the affinity, because of the quality of service that we've built with that customer base.
Makes sense.
I think that's one thing that we're at least always proud of, and pride, I think, is what defines, having been successful, is that we're proud of it, hence it should be success, right?
Right.
The other one, I think, looking at the market from what gives the testament to what we have done, is that we were acquired by Etisalat. So I think if we look at, the dream of every startup is to, get acquired, get a good exit to a big name. And for us, January 2022, that became a reality.
Awesome. Yeah, I know. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How did you first start promoting your business?
In the beginning, we said we're not going to allocate any money to marketing as a paid acquisition. We said we want to go and see what do we get organically from the market, right? So we did invest in a lot of SEO to start with, right? Because end of the day, we were a commerce business. So what we relied on is the transactions that are happening. So SEO was something.
You started investing with SEO.
Very small amounts.
Interesting.
Yeah, we started with SEO. Said, listen, we want to make sure we're in this for the long term. We want to make sure, we know that this is an industry where there's a lot of discovery marketing happening. People are looking for items, trying to find out more about them, about the health benefits of them, about the recipes, about a lot of things related to that. So we knew that there was a big search trend, but there was no commerce aspect to it. So when we started that, and it is something that we knew that will build over time. It's not something that, you put in, you'll get necessarily you will not get immediate results, right? So we said we definitely need to make sure we're investing in SEO from day one. And, as time went by, I think we were all very happy that we made that decision, because whatever you look for in terms of from an SEO perspective till today, even though there are big names spending tons of money out there, we still come up organically because of the early and consistent investment we had been doing in SEO. The second was using traditional media in terms of being present in the stores, because we were a marketplace. So from the stores that we were delivering from, telling those customers, hey, you can order your groceries from the store via ElGrocer. So
how did you do that?
We spoke to the stores we were working with, right? So the moment we onboard the store, part of that was to tell their customer base that this is a convenient new way of ordering, right? Whether it was through leaflets that go in the delivery bags, or when they call the store tells them.
Really?
The store tells them you can now order on ElGrocer.
Because you don't charge the store?
In the beginning, we didn't charge.
That's why.
In the beginning, we didn't charge. And even later when we did, a lot of retail stores So this has a benefit, right? Today, even any restaurant, if you look at it in the restaurant delivery business, say, hey, we deliver via X, Y, Z, blah, 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 because customers are looking for that. So if I don't tell the customer I'm offering this, maybe they'll go to my competitor, my three buildings down grocery store, which is telling them, yes, you can order on the app. Because the customer wants it, right? It's not about what I want as a store. It's a customer is demanding this. And if a customer doesn't know I offer this, he may not come back to me. He'll go to somebody else. So it was in their benefit as well to tell their customers that they can do that. One of the first, I would say, organic campaigns we ran that till now I remember is on Twitter. It rained in Dubai, which was, we know what happens when it rains in Dubai. Everybody goes on Twitter. It's like, it's raining, and it was posting the pictures and videos. And at that time we said, it's raining, avoid the rain. Here is a 20 dirham off code, get the delivery done by us. So that got a nice organic reach because of that, time period. Yes, people didn't want to step out for rain. At that time, grocery delivery was new. I said, okay, why not? Let me try it.
Yeah.
So it gave a nice context for them to try the service as well. There were a lot of these. Plus, something that we also did a lot in the early days was partnering with other startups. Complementary, whether it was home services, whether it was health and health or wellness, whether it was kids related activities. So we said, what are the potential complementary startups, being part of the startup community that we can cross promote each other and just offer, for example, a discount or a free gift or something. So that's that. These were some of the things we've done, in the early days. Yes.
Do you remember a couple of these partnerships?
Yes. In the app partnerships, yes, we did one with, funnily so, Service Market. Why I say funnily so, because Service Market was also recently acquired by Etisalat well. So okay. It just happened to be that they were one of the first app partners that we cross-promoted with 2017 or 18. I don't remember anymore now. But
and how did it work?
Did really well, because I think that the type of customer was convenience seekers, if we want to call them as such, right? Convenience seekers that want to book services or do transactions online. Yeah. So they were more open to online transactions, online experiences. We cross-promoted Service Market to our audience. They cross-promoted ElGrocer to their audience.
How did you do that?
It was through multiple channels. So there was email marketing. I think that was one of the best performers. So, to our database, we sent an email. They sent an email to theirs.
How did this email look like? How did your email look like?
Each of us had whether newsletter or something like a newsletter. And it was more of featuring them in that newsletter and them featuring us in their newsletter.
Got it. So it was not an email uniquely mentioning them. It was
we
your
did that
email
as well. Yeah, we did the newsletter. We did a direct emailer saying here is a code, try Service Market, or here is a code, try ElGrocer.
Okay, here you go. We recommend, this is our new partner.
Absolutely.
And benefit from a 10%
exclusive
discount.
saving for you. Because you're an ElGrocer customer, you get a Service Market discount, or vice versa.
Good one.
We did social. The same offer was amplified on social. That was one of the early days partnerships that we did.
Do you still do strategic partnerships or not anymore?
We do. I think over the years, for example, we've been collaborating with Kids App, QIDZ. They do the kids events booking and kids events promotions and so on. So similarly, cross-promoting activities. We've done competitions. We've done giveaways, things like that as well. And because that's worked for both parties, so over the years, we at the right peak seasons or peak timings, we do that.
Right. So when you started, you were doing SEO, you were doing strategic partnerships, you were doing promotion in the shops themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And you said email marketing at some point when you acquired some database.
Yes.
And did you spend on paid marketing at the beginning?
We then started experimenting on paid, definitely, because
That was early stages or after?
It was probably the second year,
Okay.
not in the first year.
Already generating revenue.
Already generating
Okay.
revenue. We started experimenting with paid, SEM, social, whatever was available at the time. Today it changed quite a lot compared to what was there at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the stuff is still there, but yes, we wanted to experiment. It was more of to understand what audience this service appeals to, right? Because the base is big. You can't reach everyone we didn't have the funds actually to go and experiment in a big way and say, let's go drive big number of impressions across different segments. So we had to do it step by step because it was all self-funded, right? So what we did was saying, okay, let's see if this works amongst people who order food online. Let's see if this works with a general e-com audience. Let's see if this works with family audience. So we kind of segmented the audience to see which audience does this work best with. We experimented with lookalike audience based on people who are already shopping with us. We experimented with different messaging. What kind of messaging? Do occasions work better, or do time of the year context work better?
A lot of A/B testing.
A lot of testing. We did a lot of testing over Facebook, over Google. SEM AdWords did very well because those are high intent driven, right? People are looking for that particular service. So that and we are a commerce platform where you can transact. So that did really well until the competition started increasing, where then it started becoming too expensive.
Google search ads.
Yes.
And you stopped it.
And we stopped it. And then we restarted it in peak seasons. So in peak seasons like Ramadan, in peak seasons like back to school, I think it's important to have the presence.
Why?
More so of a defensive strategy, so that you don't miss out even of your customers trying to explore and see what's new out there, to still be in front of them and say, hey, this is still your number one choice and number one platform. So it's more of a defensive tactic rather than acquisition, let's say, tactic. The peak season is the season where we see the cohorts that come in during peak seasons are the stickiest cohorts. So we want to make sure we don't lose out on that audience quality, that audience type, let me say.
So it is a bit of customer acquisition as well then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It's much more targeted.
Yeah.
Right? Because you are going after those high intent customers.
Yeah.
As opposed to saying
bottom of the funnel customers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Top of the funnel was too expensive, and we were self-funded, right? So to go and spend a lot of money trying to see who experiment at scale or see who would be interested in this, I think was getting, with more and more players getting into the market, it was getting too expensive. So
everything you're talking about, everything that is paid, like including social paid, or only
everything?
Search.
Everything.
Yeah.
No, search was still better than social. Social became too expensive. We continued.
Of what? Not in terms of view or
acquisition,
click, but the acquisition.
Yes, and for us,
of course,
in a growth phase, that's what matters. To be honest, right? So yes, did we have some campaigns where we wanted to engage customers? Yes. But because we had to continue the growth and acquisition, it started becoming too expensive. Okay, in groceries, the margins are low.
Of course.
So when the margins are low, how much can you spend to acquire a customer versus how long it's gonna take to keep this customers to break even on that?
Lifetime value of a customer, and it's like the basket is probably like 100 dirhams.
So it didn't. Luckily, so our average basket was bigger again because of the targeting, because of the early experimentations we did. We said, okay, maybe this is a smaller part of the market, but if we go after the high basket customers, that gives us a better return.
How would you able to choose these customers?
We stumbled upon it, to be honest with you. So because of the experimentation.
Okay.
and because of a lot of the customer feedback that we were getting,
Right.
we focused more on the family audience. Family, I use it a bit loosely because there's a lot of different families, but we started onboarding hypermarkets and co-ops as opposed to the smaller stores.
Yeah. And you charge a fee to the customer.
And we charge a delivery fee to the customer.
Right.
Yes.
So maybe that's why as well you attract a certain audience, right?
Yes.
Because usually the grocery shop doesn't show. If I call the grocery shop, they don't charge me.
Correct.
Right. So maybe these people,
Yes.
like us,
Yes.
we're willing to pay the 6-7 dirham extra for
Yes.
that delivery.
And it is replacing a bigger shopping occasion, right? As a shopper, you have this occasion where you'll call the store downstairs, he'll bring you 2, 3, 4, 5 items,
100%.
right? But you still need your weekly or monthly shopping where you're buying 10, 15, 20 or more items. And that's where you need to drive most likely, park the car, go shop, queue at the checkout, come back. So that's 2 hours at best, if not more.
Yeah.
If you go on the weekend, half your day is gone. So when we offer a service that you enjoy your half a day and your groceries will come an hour or two later and your full basket comes an hour or two later, automatically you can attract that audience type. And because we had the right network of stores, so it was not just a marketing proposition. We need to make sure we have the right stores on the platform that can cater to that audience. So that's where we focused more on the co-ops and the hypermarkets. That's
sense.
where on the categories, what do they need? They need fruits and veg. They need meat, chicken, and seafood. They need, diapers. So we started making sure the content and the catalog reflects what they need. So we need to make sure all the building blocks are there so that when that type of customer comes, can easily convert. And then it is a smaller part of the market, but it was a more valuable part of the market for us to go after, given that we didn't have the funds to go top of the funnel.
Makes sense. And now 5-6 years down the road, how do you currently market your business?
I think since we got acquired by Etisalat itself has a lot of rich channels and rich audience pools that we can leverage in terms of targeting, of course, with all the different parameters that we have set in terms of what types of audience do we want to go after, how do we make sure we have the right proposition to convert them as well. The biggest milestone was integrating ElGrocer into Smiles, right? So Smiles is used to be Etisalat's loyalty program. Today still is, but Smiles has become more of a lifestyle marketplace, right? Where you have multiple different avenues to earn and redeem Smiles points. You don't need to be an Etisalat customer. You can be any type of customer and sign up to the Smiles program. You earn points from all of the services that are within Smiles, and you can redeem your points in any of the services within Smiles. Smiles being, UAE, one of UAE's largest loyalty programs, automatically for us that switches the direction. We don't need to acquire customers anymore. We need to introduce this audience that groceries is there within Smiles and offer them a good proposition and a good service so that they convert and they repeat and they have the right level of frequency and basket size and all of that. So it has switched a bit. Smiles in general does a lot of marketing to acquire and build a full platform, but within Smiles itself, that's where we are focusing to leverage that audience pool that is available.
Right. That's one thing.
That's I would say today our main focus. The second one is also innovating in terms of the services we are offering.
So currently you use the Etisalat's rich pools, rich audiences. That's one way of marketing the business.
Yeah.
And you still invest in paid, and you still invest in SEO and partnerships and retargeting and so forth?
Retargeting, yes. But paid, we don't anymore.
Interesting.
Yes. For us, it was a simple equation, right? Do we continue investing in acquiring more customers? But I already have millions of customers that can easily convert, and they don't need to do any extra steps. You don't need to download the app. I already have the Smiles app. I'm already using Smiles for so many other things. I just need to convince them that I have groceries, first of all, and I have the right grocery experience for you to try and for you to keep earning and redeeming points with. I have the right set of stores, I have the right experiences. So it's really leveraging those audiences and, making those customers more satisfied so that it becomes their only go-to platform when it comes to groceries.
So how do you acquire new customers then?
So Smiles acquires new customers.
Only?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the ElGrocer app is still there, and we are doing more of the organic stuff we used to do back in the day, right? So continue investing in SEO. We continue doing retargeting to different pools within the ElGrocer customer base, because we still have both platforms. We've just launched Smiles Grocery, so there's a lot of focus there in terms of driving it and enriching it, I would say. On the ElGrocer side, it's more of a maintenance, let me say, and organic and partnership kind of approach.
Right. Interesting.
The second you were saying this, so the second is more in terms of providing more innovative services. Today, one big topic in groceries is dark stores, and how do you deliver from dark stores? And there's different approaches. Dark stores being smaller stores, quicker deliveries with essentials, or dark stores with a bigger variety so that you can cater to the full basket need, let's say. So we launched our first dark store. And through that first dark store, we're able to offer a different experience to the customer versus what they get from our marketplace, right? It is a store on the marketplace. From the rest of the stores, you're ordering from any of our partner stores on the app. You get a 1-hour delivery most likely, and you have access to the range and pricing of that store. However, because of the system integrations, you may face some out of stocks, saying, okay, it's not available, and so on and so on. But when you order from the dark store, there, because there's no walk-in customers, the systems are fully integrated. It's I would say, a slightly more elevated experience where you kind of order, you get exactly what you ordered, no variances, no differences, and all of that.
Got you. It's interesting that you said that you don't put a lot of money anymore on advertising or marketing the business. And I'm thinking, why would somebody like your competitor, InstaShop, advertise so much and put so much money on marketing? Because I see them everywhere.
Yeah.
On billboards and television and all the television and buildings and on social. Yes. And why would they do that and not you?
So they don't have, we have a competitive advantage that they don't have, right? We have millions of customers on Smiles already. And for us, it's about converting them to groceries as an additional service within Smiles, compared to going and needing to tell them about that.
How would you do that?
Within Smiles, all the different direct marketing tools, right? Be it email, being push notifications, be it SMS,
I see.
Be it pop-ups within Smiles if I'm doing another kind of transaction.
Okay, and that's enough for you?
Yeah.
Because today I am an InstaShop customer, mm-hmm. and I'm not on Smiles. Yeah. So how do you target me?
So that's where...
You say, that's fine.
No, absolutely right. And that's where Smiles does its own marketing, not just necessarily about groceries. There can be grocery-specific campaigns.
Interesting.
But Smiles does its own marketing, saying, you can do XYZ on Smiles, including groceries.
Got you. And you're still focusing on growth, or?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah, okay. Definitely. I think we're, like I said, investing in providing new services, which is the dark stores being one. There are some other services being discussed, how we can bring those in, when we can bring those in. We are investing in, doing a lot of technology improvements so that the experiences are more seamless between what we are offering and the stores are offering. In terms of savings and promotions, that's a very big topic. Savings and promotions in groceries, especially with inflation. That's something that we've been focusing a lot on. How do we provide more value to customers from the promotions that a lot of brands and a lot of stores are offering. How can we provide directly more value? So we run a lot of cashback promotions. Right. Because of the power of the loyalty program of Smiles, you can order and get cashback and Smiles points, making it, very affordable and very valuable in times where today everyone is crunched on cash. So
makes sense. I like that. Did you ever work with influencers, or do you currently work with influencers? And if yes, what are your thoughts about
We've worked with influencers. We don't work with influencers now on the grocery ElGrocer side, let me say. We worked with influencers for a few years when it comes to recipes. So we have shoppable recipes on ElGrocer, and we worked with influencers to put their recipes, and you can find it on the app today, right? You can find the influencers, what are their recipes, in one click, add all the ingredients to your cart, order it. So the engagement with influencers was more from a recipe engagement point of view, rather than from promoting the app point of view, because we always wanted to link it again to a transaction, end of the day, transaction between the customer and us, rather than it being a, let's say, marketing, brand building tool from that point of view. Drove a lot of interesting results. So we got a lot of insights in terms of, what kind of recipes do people actually engage with versus what type of recipes do people actually order.
Yeah.
So engagement was something, customers ordering was another. And what we found out that customers love complicated recipes from an engagement. Wow, this looks really nice. This looks really cool. People are saving it. People are liking it, viewing the videos.
Yeah.
But when it comes to ordering, the simpler recipes were being ordered.
Of course. Makes sense. And do you still work with influencers?
No.
Why not?
We kind of did that for a couple of years, and then the recipes became more of a engagement tactic rather than a commerce tactic. And because we wanted to focus a bit more on the commerce side, so we kind of put that's still there. Like I said, it's still there in the app. Whoever has kindly shared their recipes with us, they're present within the platform. But we don't, I think we did a couple of campaigns where we tried to work with influencers, again, from a micro influencer point of view, because again, don't forget, before the acquisition, we were self-funded.
Yeah.
We tried to do something, it was very expensive. So the commerce performance channels were better, and anyway, our funds were limited. So we focused on those. And then whatever little we had left, we did it as a recipe engagement with influencers. So that's where the ball stopped, let's say. It is expensive. I think working with influencers, unless you have a big brand budget to go and invest and do big engagement campaigns or brand building campaigns, those are great. They're great. I have a lot of colleagues with other startups on products related. If you are selling a product, I think from what I know from data, from a lot of discussions with agencies, with influencers, product-driven influencer campaigns do really well. But platform are great for engagement, but they don't drive sales and orders and all of that. So
right. I see what you mean. So they're still good because they create more impressions and more trust.
Yes.
But maybe that's not scalable, or that's not what you currently need today as ElGrocer. So today in the e-commerce businesses that I work with, and some of the clients that we work with, again, we work with a lot of influencers because they build trust immediately, right? And they create a lot more impressions, free impressions, if you will, that otherwise you have to spend a lot, and the algorithms doesn't always work in your favor. So working with influencers will trick the algorithms for these users to start seeing more of your products or services.
Absolutely.
Interesting. For the sake of time, we still have a couple of minutes. What are your top 2 do's and 2 don'ts in marketing?
I think the top 2 do's is do segment your audience, understand your audience, and segment the audience. I think what a lot of people jump right into is advertising rather than saying, okay, who am I advertising to? What's my message to them? So definitely spend a good time to identify the audience, understand the audience, segment the audience. I think that's a big do. Do it as early as possible. Even if you don't have a lot of data, do it based on, discussions with those customers. Call them up if you know them, survey them. Try to understand what audience works best for my brand, for my proposition, products, whatever it is that you're trying to, set up. On the other hand, don't jump right into advertising to them and marketing to them before you understand how you are solving a problem for them, right? And what you're gonna tell them, right? It's not about telling them, hey, I exist. Okay, so what? That's where you need to have a strong messaging, creative, be it something you've developed yourself or with your team, or working with an agency. Because I know we had that, discussion perhaps in the panel or before the panel when we met. We worked with agency when it comes to creative. Our last campaign as ElGrocer, not part of Smiles, was the whole using the L market, ElGrocer, L eggs, L market, playing on that whole L aspect as a creative tool. People knew what is ElGrocer.
Yeah.
But, okay, I can see the brand being more fun, being more engaging. Right. In a market where everybody is offering the same, you need to stand out. So you need that creative hook. Unless you're offering something that is nobody else in the market is offering, then yes, you can afford to say, hey, I'm doing something X, which no one else can give you or no one else can offer you. But even with that, you need to have the right benefit drive. So don't jump into just putting any message out there. And whether you have the money or you don't have the money, just go and say anything to anyone. I think do identify, understand, but don't jump into advertising and promoting without doing the do first.
Makes sense, man.
Yeah.
100%. I totally agree. And that is the most challenging part of marketing. Segmenting, creating buyer personas, talking to all these buyer personas of yours, because today, like some brands are like Apple, they do it their way, and some brands are like Samsung, they show it to this audience and this audience, so all the ads look completely different. They're targeting the Arabs and the locals and the Asians and the whatever, and they're talking people from this region and from this region.
Yes.
Well, Apple is completely the opposite, right? So I think there's like a thin line between knowing what direction you want to go to, and it's important to go with one direction. So for example, with us, Blooming Box, we don't put a face, we don't put a skin color, although let's say the Emiratis are one of the, let's say, biggest target segments. We don't necessarily show locals. For other clients of mine, we say, locals are target, let us create an ad with locals in it. Right? So
yes.
Yeah. So I agree with you, it's important. And at the same time, it's important to stick to what you want to achieve, what your brand to look like.
Absolutely.
I like that you played on the L, right? Because L, it sticks.
Yeah.
And that's like a marketing gimmick. And I agree, it's important to know your audience, to always think about your audience, because most business people today are creative. They're not analytical.
Yeah.
So I'm an analytical person. So for me, data is extremely important, right? But most business people, they're just, okay, let's do this and let's do that. And always, they're always creating, coming up with ideas.
Noise.
I love that.
There's always a lot of noise rather than people thinking, okay, what am I going to communicate? Who am I communicating to? Why is this interesting? It's interesting to me, but why is it interesting to the customer audience, right?
Absolutely.
I think a lot of people get lost in those noise rather than saying, oh, why do we need a brief if we're doing something internally? It's like, okay, if we don't know what we're going to put out there, then of course the customer is not going to understand anything, right? So
100%. One thing to leave the audience or the listeners with.
I think what we all forget is enjoying, right? Enjoying what you do. Whether you're doing it for the customer, whether you're doing it for yourself, whether you're doing it to build the next biggest thing out there, I think enjoy what you're doing. I think we tend to get lost in the day-to-day calendar and schedules and emails and all of that. But take a moment to appreciate what you're doing. Take a moment to enjoy what you're doing. And that automatically becomes the fuel of what you do day in, day out.
Love it, man. Give yourself a tap on the back sometimes.
Absolutely.
All right, my man. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Until next time.